logs. I don't even care, dude.
I'll give you a log in your toilet. How's that sound?
You did do that in Canada.
No, that was a hotel room. That wasn't your actual house. I need
wasn't.
to bless it.
Is this how we're starting the show?
Welcome to Clickbait Sports, folks.
Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Yep. All right. Show's over.
Best show we've had in a couple weeks. Good job, boys.
Hey,
I think
Good
so.
job.
I think so. One of our best. One of our best.
I'm gonna do it from the couch, okay? I'm just gonna
Yeah, you
the
would
whole
do that.
show.
It's just like dumpster
Uh-huh.
fire, right?
We're gonna do the show from the couch.
Right.
So Scooter
This is
wanted
what-
to start off talking about the Dallas Cowboys win against the LA Rams, and then also you're playing the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. Scoots, how you feeling about it?
Listen, let's go back in time. All right, let's go back to this Sunday.
You can't just give a nice
And
answer.
this is what I've been trying to tell everyone. Can someone cut back to when I said it is a week-to-week league? One day you're losing to the Cardinals.
Oh, we have that
The
clip.
next day,
Ooh,
Okay.
Kinky.
the next day you're dominating the LA Rams. Listen, this is a weird season. That was a very dominant win for the Cowboys this past Sunday. Everything was clicking. Defense was clicking. Special teams was clicking. Offense was clicking. Dak, 4 touchdowns, 300 yards. This is perfect leading up into our midseason finale against the Eagles, who I still believe have been untested to date. Yes, they did beat the Dolphins, but that they were without 3 of their starting offensive linemen. You know what? When we lost to the Cardinals, we were also without 3 of our starting offensive linemen.
Eagles had injuries too.
So-
but okay.
I do think this will be the best test for both teams going forward. I'm very excited to see what we can do. Mike McCarthy has also said he's going to unleash Dak a little bit. We saw what can happen when we get CD Lamb the ball. All right? Get CD Lamb the ball and good things happen. That's all I'm saying. I'm very hopeful for this game this Sunday. Let's go, boys.
All right. There you go. So you actually think the Cowboys are going to win?
Yes, I do. I do think the Cowboys are going to win. You heard it here first on Clickbait Sports. Cowboys were trending up. Eagles are barely squeaking by teams like the Commanders.
Commanders play them really well, though, for some reason. So I don't think that has
you
really
can't
anything to do
gauge
with
a-
the Eagles.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Anytime the Eagles suck against a team and barely win, it's always an excuse. Always an excuse. But there will not be any excuses
Lord.
this Sunday. All right.
Jeebus.
We will expose the
Christ,
fraudulence. We
Christ,
will
the fraud.
expose the fraudulence.
The fraud.
Now,
Come on.
what I'm more interested in is talking about the Cowboys being one of the best teams. We know that. But let's talk about one of the worst teams in the league. Let's switch over to the Packers, who might actually be the worst team in the NFL right now.
I don't know about that. I mean, with the Bears and the Panthers, I don't say
I thought
that.
I was getting called to the stage. Real
I
quick.
don't-
I mean,
know about
honestly,
that.
yours is up there too. I mean, Giants, Panthers,
Let's
who's
talk
worse?
about it. Let's talk about it. Tom, take us through how you're feeling about Jordan Love. Didn't your GM already say this might not be the guy? Let's go there. Let's talk about that for a second.
No. He
No, what?
didn't.
No,
It
that was a
Adam
rumor.
Schefter who tweeted out a Rob Domofsky article in which
Okay.
he said that Goody said that. I was watching the press conference live, and Schefter got bullied enough that he deleted it because he never said that in the article that he clipped. So no,
Listen.
it did not.
Perception is reality. That's all I'm saying. Perception
Gotta get
is
that.
reality.
Okay, but at some point, like, reality is also reality, and like if he didn't say it, then he didn't say it. Here's the thing, Lord Taco, you crazy. Boop, boop. Here's the thing. Here's what I'm gonna say. I don't see a world in the next quarter of the season, so like next 4 games, that Jordan Love gets benched. I don't. because it makes absolutely no sense for the franchise. You gave him a mini extension, so you're going to get him this year. You have him next year, right? It's very low risk. So you have him there. You need to evaluate and see if he's the guy. But if you watch Packers games, then you will know that it is far from being just on Jordan Love, who needs to play better. But for some reason, we live in this world where if you say, hey, Jordan Love shows flashes, but he needs to play better, that apparently is saying Jordan Love is the greatest quarterback of all time. But if you look at our offense, which does not show up in the first the first half of football games, they started this past game with 4 3-and-outs in a row. They literally don't show up. The offensive line is not blocking. They can't pass protect. They can't run block. We have no run game. Jordan Love was our leading rusher heading into it. Receivers are dropping balls. Receivers and Jordan Love are not on the same page. Oh, and our defense sucks. So yes, things are not going well. But you don't remedy that by going, hey, let's bench the guy we're supposed to be evaluating, because that just does not make any sense. So yeah.
I have two questions.
And we traded away our best corner that's playing right now. So
that's first of all, who is your backup quarterback this year?
Sean Clifford.
Sean Clifford. Oh, the Penn State legend.
Oh,
couldn't really do
all
anything
the old
at Penn
whites
State.
are calling for him. All
not
the
even
old
that.
whites are just
not
like,
even the
come
old
on
whites.
in.
Remember, he did well for like one game in the preseason. They're all saying start Sean Clifford.
Yeah,
nope.
I'm very aware. Like I was watching the press conference yesterday, and just like the YouTube chat was like start Sean Clifford, and I'm just like, I can't. I don't even know.
Also,
I don't even know.
one thing. What's happened with AJ Dillon? Because he's regressed big time.
No, but he didn't do well last year either. Like, no, I mean, that's the thing. Like, first of all, again, we don't have any run game, because when we have Aaron Jones, we're like, yeah, we're only giving him the ball like 2 times anyway. 1. And 2, there are no lanes. Like, AJ Dillon, again, he's another one that needs to play better. But dude, like, you watch our blocking and it is non-existent. I mean, not Josh Myers is falling on his face, but our OC and our GM is saying that he's playing the best football, even though Zach Tom is a much better center. Yeah, there's just no lanes. It's a disaster.
And I think you benched the left tackle this past week, right?
So yeah, so Josh Nijman, who I don't know what he did, like he wasn't playing, and fans are like, why is he not playing? And now he is. So
listen. Anyone calling for the third stringer to start is not a good fan, because the guy's a third stringer for a reason. As the Giants found out, Tommy DeVito might as well have been Danny DeVito, the trash man from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They threw for -9 yards, and I watched that game in its entirety. It was like literally getting punched in the groin region every down. Like, I have never experienced a more painful game. It was a miracle that 23 points were scored at all. It was like a tooth extraction. It was literally with no numbing power at all, just completely removing of my dental. Like, just it was bad. I'm sorry. I know I'm changing the subject, but the Giants-Jet game was probably the worst football game I've ever seen in my life.
Dropping a hundo to tree.
Before we get into the Giants travesty, I just have one question, just to go back to Tom for a second. Friend of the channel, Tom Benkert. I'm sorry.
Kurt Benkert.
Kurt Benkert.
I'm sorry.
A portmanteau.
Kurt Benkert, friend of the channel. He tweeted recently, no quarterback would be doing well in the position that Jordan Love is in right now. Do you agree with that assessment?
I don't think like a Patrick Mahomes would still be able to find like some success and like the best of the best. But if you've played 8 starts before, no, you're not, like, it's going to be very difficult. Like, nobody's having a good time in that offense because nobody's on the same page. I mean, you have offensive linemen who are saying like, we're not ready to play. Like, that's horrible. And then that goes back to coaching. So it is just a full-blown dumpster fire right now. Shout out. Right in Green Bay. So yeah, no, nothing is going right. The easy answer that everyone wants to look at is like, oh, it's the quarterback. Again, Love needs to play better. He's not consistent. He also makes some really, really good throws, but like, he needs to play better. But when you have a young QB struggling and a system that can't do anything right, yeah, it's going to be problematic.
Last question before we segue. Did you think it would be this bad when Aaron Rodgers left? Did you anticipate this?
No, so but I said before the season though. So I was like the Packers could win 10 games with the talent that's on their squad. But yet again, the defense has not shown up. We have invested everything into that defense and they're not showing up. On top of that, the offense is so bad and it goes back to coaching and then also just players not executing. But the bigger thing that I wanted, and I feel like the trading of Rasul Douglas really kind of just stapled this for fans. It was like, hey, the Packers aren't going to be good this year. It is very likely that they are going to be very, very bad and continue this bad turn. What you now need to see is, all right, it's time for evaluation. Who is going to be on this squad in the future? And that includes coaches. You know, of course, the big one is Jordan Love if he's the franchise guy, but there's a whole lot of other names. And looking ahead, we did this on GPS, looking ahead for the next 2 years and Packers free agents, I don't know if there's like 2 guys that you need to re-sign. So like it's rough right now. Like there is gonna have to be a reckoning at some point.
Speaking of rough, let's go back to that Giants game. 5. Did you anticipate this for the Giants coming into this season? I saw on Twitter a couple people of saying in regards to Giants, they're a couple field goals away from being 4-4 essentially. Y'all just lost a couple of games by minuscule amount of points.
I mean, just the last 2. I mean, we were not in the Niners game. We were not in the Cowboys game. Y'all smoked us. We were not in the Eagles. You know, we were just we've been bad. Yeah, I mean the Finns. Like, yeah, we've been crap. The thing is, the Giants. Like, I had some reservations this year. Obviously, we won a playoff game, but this is what I've had time to reflect on. Was last year we had a lot of things go our way, right? Game 1 of the season, you know, Daboll rolls the dice and they go for 2 and they beat the Titans, you know, like in a game that no one thought that they would win. They ended up tying the Commanders. You know, they ended up beating the Commanders later in the season when it really mattered. So they kind of snuck their way in the playoffs, and then they got a dream matchup against the Vikings, a very fraudulent team.
Lord.
Let's just be honest how fraudulent they were to even be in the playoffs last year. And so the Giants were thinking, you know, you put all that expectation, which was justified because they did win a playoff game. If you're playing on Division Sunday, like you think you're a decent football team and you're thinking you're gonna improve over that. And we went from the thing that is the most alarming to me was when we played against the good competition in this league, we weren't even close, right? You just look at the teams, like if you're not close to the Niners, or if you're, I mean, or against even the Bills who were struggling. They still couldn't pull it out. Like, and that was a game that the Giants could have been had for the Giants. We got smoked by the Dolphins. We got smoked by the Seahawks. Like we're not close to being a good team. And I think
so. Where
Judge
do you
James
go from here? Where do you go from here?
It's going to be, they're going to try to do a rapid rebuild is what it looks like. I mean, they got a great haul for Leonard Williams. I mean, come on, a second and a 5th, like in next year's draft, like a second. Remember, he was traded for, I think, a 4th and a 6th or something like that. So he was, he was a 3rd and a 4th is what you got for him. You got him in his best years, and then you turn around and turn him back into a 2nd and a 5th. Like, come on, that was a good trade. And as much as it hurts, the problem is watching this team for the rest of the year is going to be depressing. You just took your best run stopper and removed him. Like, the Giants will be gashed up the middle for 20 to 40 yards for the rest of the season. Like, it will be.
On the bright side, though, you still have Saquon.
We do. I don't know what happens at the end of this season. Saquon deserves to get paid. He's put his body on the line. He's come back. The other question mark is Daniel Jones. Is he the guy? Because this is that might the Commanders win might be the last win of the season for the G-men. Like, it is going to be
I've already
disgustingly bad for me for the rest of the year. So I will see you guys next year. I'm just crawl into a hole and cry the whole time.
Real quick, just to acknowledge that super real quick. So about Matt LaFleur. So LaFleur is a good head coach because Aaron Rodgers won back-to-back MVPs with him when Aaron Rodgers actually committed to the scheme. He didn't commit to the scheme in 2019. They were still audibling a lot to McCarthy's old play calls. And then he commits after they draft Jordan Love, a lot of it out of spite, which is fine. So, yeah, he could do it. How good is LaFleur on his own? That's what we're waiting to see, because LaFleur even made mistakes with Rodgers when it came to personnel, offensive linemen, matchups, especially during the NFC Championship game and that divisional round against the 49ers. So, yeah, I mean, he's being evaluated too. Sorry, I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Yes, we do play the Raiders next weekend, by the way, which is a good segue. We do need to talk about the Raiders and what happened to McDaniels. But I don't have much faith in this Giant team. They don't want to win. I mean, I guess Daniel Jones is coming back, but why? They don't have any interest in winning now. There's
Before we preview
nothing
next
good
week's
comes
games,
from winning.
let's go back in time and look at that Steelers versus Jaguars game. Tree, what do you have to say for that offense that only put up 10 points? Talk to us.
Well, that's pretty standard Steeler football for us right now. I was expecting the bullshit to be real because it felt like that kind of game. Jacksonville was randomly self-destructing on a lot of different drives, including a fumble in the red zone. Trevor Lawrence just throwing this one of the worst passes he's thrown in the NFL. It's like, yep, that's Steeler football right there. And, I mean, the offense, as predictable in the first half, was puke. It was 4 straight 3-and-outs, just like your guys. Tomlin came out and said apparently that's not a problem, even though I don't know why you would do that. But I guess this is just Steeler football nowadays. But they were expecting the defense to carry, but unfortunately there were a bunch of different issues that popped up. Minka, injury, hamstring. So he's out for at least a couple weeks. He'll be out tonight. He'll be out probably a few more. Hopefully it's only a few more because hamstrings are finicky. Kenny Pickett knocked out of the game. So you did not get fourth quarter Kenny Clutch out of nowhere. And finally, we need to talk about the ref ball because it was pretty bad in that game. I mean, on certain aspects, like a couple phantom calls, no roughing the passer on the Pickett penalty, even though you can argue that the defender put his weight on Kenny Pickett, which caused the rib injury. And secondly, there was an offsides on the right guard on the final field goal attempt of the first half, which they never call. And if you actually look at the line of scrimmage, he wasn't really offsides, which is a weird thing in general. So they missed the field goal there. You bring in Kiss and Titties, and he does kiss and titty things, such as throwing the ball into double coverage repeatedly, and game is over. And that is why I mean, the Jags played ugly, but they out-uglied the Steelers. And the biggest issue with Jacksonville, they're a good team. They are offensively inconsistent. They can put on the fire whenever the time comes. But then there are times where it's just like either Calvin Ridley drops the ball or Trevor Lawrence throws a weird interception like he did. By the way, Kenny Pickett, I don't know if it was him or Deontay. They missed a wide-open shot in the end zone because Deontay slipped and Kenny kind of missed his target.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to see that tonight. And just an update, Matt Canada is going from the press box to the sideline. Yep. So hopefully you'll get to hear those Fire Canada chants in person because we're back at home again.
Why is he not up in the booth? What
he was in the booth. I think they're trying to change things up, make it closer to the quarterback because Pickett is playing apparently. But, I mean, as I said, this isn't even on Canada anymore. This is on Tomlin for enabling this shit. That's all it is. There's a point where it's like, okay, he's not working out. Let's bring in somebody else and get a new wrinkle. But Steelers are never going to do that. They'll just promote from within. They'll bring in Mike Sullivan, their quarterback coach, promote him up, and we repeat the same stuff. There are people in Pittsburgh that want to hire Josh McDaniels as their OC, and I'm sitting there like, really? Dude, have you seen how bad he is without Brady? Are you out of your mind?
Despite all the offensive struggles, though, the Steelers are sitting at 4-3 on the season. Where do you think you guys go from here? We will preview that Thursday night football game a little bit later, but overall, what are you thinking for your team in general?
I mean, honestly, they're lucky to be 4-3. They should be 2-5 at the very least because look at their wins. One was 2 defensive turnovers, which pretty much never happens in the NFL level. Deshaun had a weak game. Josh McDaniels is a moron. He kicked a field goal down by 8. You have the Baltimore Ravens dropping 7 to 9 footballs, which is completely unprecedented in the modern NFL. They kept making mistakes, and I think Baltimore lost that game instead of Steelers winning. And then the Rams, Brett Maher missed 3 kicks, and there was a really bad spot in the first down. So, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think there's been a legitimate win for the Steelers all year. And this is the Mike Tomlin, just the black magic that he works on. It's just like he's a sorcerer. He's a necromancer. He rises from the dead, and he uses just like his wizardry to just jinx the other team. And that's really what it comes down to. So it'll probably be like an 8-9, 9-8. I mean, it is. I mean, I mean, we've been stuck in the same game for about 5 years, and it is agony. It is a different kind of agony. It's what we call football hell. And that's what the Steelers are right now.
That's a great segue, because speaking of agony, there are some fans right now who are actually rejoicing. Their agony might be over. We're talking about Raiders fans. They fired their GM. They fired their coach. They are cleaning house.
Offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and benched Jimmy
out
G
as well. So
and
my question to you guys is, who could be next to go? If you're betting money, who are you putting your money on to go next?
Wait. Can we rewind one thing? I just want to say one thing before you start. Is I've made multiple videos on Josh McDaniels saying that he was a snake, that he was going to end, that this was going to end badly, that he was a fraud, and that he did the exact same things in Las Vegas that he did in Denver, and all that came true. So I get the aged perfectly award for this week. Thank you.
Right. I think we are done seeing Josh McDaniels fail upwards. I think that was his.
Yeah, he'll be a coordinator of some kind, but he will never get it. It's like Adam Gase, you know.
But if I'm guessing, if I'm putting my money on the next coach to go, I'm going all in on Ron Rivera being gone. Because you can listen, the writing's on the wall already. They basically shut it down this year. They traded Chase Young. They traded Montez Sweat. So to me, it's just a matter of time. One more bad loss, a couple more bad losses, we're going to see an interim coach for the Commanders. What about you guys? What are you guys thinking? Next coach, coordinator to get fired.
I agree.
GM.
Rivera could have gotten fired last year, and I think it would have been justified. And I like Ron Rivera a lot. Like, especially like what he walked into, talk about like culture and all that stuff. It was rough. And, you know, kind of doing the best he can. Like Jack Del Rio, I don't think he's the answer either. But yeah, no, if there's one guy, it has to be Eberflus, right? I mean, and he just a tree. I know you picked up on that, the whole like the culture. And you're just like, here we go.
Speaking of Eberflus, he did talk about the culture.
Yes,
he said
did.
The culture is really good. It is excellent in Chicago, even though they fired 2 coaches for immoral acts outside of the football stadium. And we know none of their reasons, but they're probably pretty dire.
Because the running backs coach just got fired too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I talk about the culture.
Eberflus is just like, they don't win games. And it's a mess right now. And they just got Montez Sweat for a second, which is basically like a late round first. But I think at the end of the day, it's such a disaster that like you can't keep him, right? They thought they figured it out last year. Like that was the mulligan, right? Last year was like, listen, we're going to suck, right? They were the worst team in the league, but they thought they figured out Justin Fields was the guy. Now, the way that the season started, the way the season's going, you had that really nice game against the Commanders. You beat a backup quarterback with the Raiders. Like, but other than that, like it's downhill. Like there's nothing good right now for the Bears. I mean, I will say I think their running defense is pretty solid, but it's not good.
Billings.
It's not good. So.
Bob, what do you got?
You guys want to put me on the spot here. Hold on. I was looking. I'm trying to fit because you just took my answer. I think someone whose seat is very hot, who probably will get let go at the end of the year, is Mike Vrabel. Unfortunately, he's losing. I mean, it just seems like his system going forward. Like, is he going to be Will Levis's, mentor here? We'll see. But I think that his expiration date is starting to get a little thin right there. I think 2 guys also, Dennis Allen and Arthur Smith, are in trouble, especially because Arthur Smith, and I said this at the beginning of the year, I said Arthur Smith is sus because with his weirdness, that's fine if you're winning. They are somehow in first place. Like it's just odd that they are, but Desmond Ridder has been garbage and has not developed at all to this point. He's
Recall
getting
based.
benched. Right. He's getting benched for Taylor
He'll do whatever.
Heineke.
He got extended.
Bijan, Bijan is not being used properly. Kyle Pitts. Like, I think a really good coach could come into Atlanta and turn them into some ballers. I think Arthur Smith is handcuffing that team with his weirdness and his it's this unpredictability or whatever. He's going against the grain and it's not working. That's fine if you're winning, but as soon as he's under 500, you got to look at him. So I guess I'll just say it's Arthur Smith, but
let me just ask a really interesting question. What about Brian Daboll? Can you go from coach of the year to on the hot seat the very next year? Is it possible?
Two of the losses, like the losses that should have this team at 4-4, are on Brian Daboll. That's the hardest part because the disaster at the end of halftime against the Bills and at the end of regulation, those were Daboll's fault. Like, you can point directly at him, which is rare for me to do as a fan. And then that whole sequence at the end of the Jet game, kicking the field goal with an injured kicker when they could have just gone for it. It was 4th and 1. The Jets defense was exhausted. Then after that, Kayvon Thibodeau commits a defensive offside, which allowed the clock to run.
Or stop the clock.
It stopped the clock. I'm sorry. Like, that is a discipline thing. Okay. And Kayvon had a monster game, but I will tell you, penalty in the dictionary means a fine or infraction for a wrong deed. In football, it means a lack of discipline. And that goes on the coach too. That goes seriously on the coach. And that is both Wink Martindale and Daboll's fault that something as basic as lining up correctly in the neutral zone happened in the worst time of the game. Like, that's stuff that you have to go over at practice. So
that's fair.
It was Daboll will not get fired. He'll make it through the season because he hasn't had Daniel Jones, and now they're trading off parts. But yeah, next year, if they're 4, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So
Tree, who do you think on the hot seat could potentially get fired?
Why has nobody mentioned Brandon Staley yet?
Yeah, Staley's up there.
That dude should have been fired last year after blowing 29-0. He's a defensive genius, and his defenses, with all of that talent and money being thrown at it, is still terrible. So what happened? Like, J.C. Jackson, total garbage. Khalil Mack, usually invincible unless he's playing a team that gets 5 sacks, and they still against the Raiders, and he gets 5 sacks. Eric Kendricks hasn't really done much. Joey Bosa kind of in and out. Could be that. Issues on the interior defensive line for a very long time. They give up runs and gashes. They give up passes and gashes. They're being relied on Justin Herbert and pretty much a bunch of checkdowns to Austin Eckler. That's been their offense. That's been their defense. They're completely mismanaged. I think Brandon Staley's pretty much been getting bailed out by Aaron Donald. He is the modern version of Mike McCoy. That's pretty much what I see.
What?
No, I mean, remember, Brendan Staley was the defensive coordinator with the Rams. And that's how he got
you're saying like that's how he got to that point.
Yes, that's how he got the job.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I've really got there. And if they're sub 500, they've had a bunch of games that they should have lost, if we're being completely honest here. The Raiders, they had that bad interception by Aiden O'Connell. And then the headphone set issue with Minnesota. So honestly, they're lucky to be in the position they're in at 3-4. They should be actually 1-6. And if they're sub 500, miss the playoffs, done.
Yeah. That's why I think, they're riding high on Staley right now because he actually, won a game. But
yeah, you beat the Bears with the D2 quarterback making his second career start and one of the worst offenses in the NFL because the Raiders lost to it because they were just throwing checkdowns. Bajan hadn't thrown more than 15 yards, and they still looked like crap against them.
Yeah.
I was at that Chargers Bears game.
Yeah,
I was there.
I mean, that was a stomp.
Yeah, the film on Bajan is ugly. It's really ugly. Like, I'm sure. What was it like in person, Scooter? Like, was it pretty bad? It looked pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. I was more so just taking in the ambiance of SoFi, first time at SoFi Stadium. And also, there are a lot of Chargers fans. I don't know if there's a lot of Rams fans, but there is a huge contingency of Chargers fans that are out there. Even though they moved from San Diego, they followed them to Los Angeles. That's what was most surprising for me, was seeing that there were so many Chargers fans out there. So,
Well, I mean, the Bears fans would probably show out, but they were like, no, not for this team.
Yeah, the Bears aren't going out for that team.
They were like, oh, it's so bad that Chargers fans actually showed up.
I don't think
Remember,
Tomlin's on
If
the
it's
hot
Chargers
seat.
Cardinals, nobody's showing up.
Mike Tomlin's
Tomlin's
never
never
on the hot seat.
Tomlin's not
They're
gonna
never
get fired.
fired. And that's
They're
the
not
problem.
firing
They should have
coaches.
been fired 5 years ago, but they're never going to. Steelers never fire coaches. So he's got that job for as long as he wants.
Faker
That's fair.
Mayfield. That's funny.
That is fair. Why don't we switch things up here and preview this Thursday night football game?
Oh,
It is
boy.
between your Steelers. Who are the Steelers playing, Tree?
The Tennessee Titans, led by Mayo Man himself, Will Levis.
So let's just get your thoughts on how this game is going to go, and then we'll get some predictions after that. How do you see this game going, Tree?
Well, I'm interested to see how Will Levis does, first and foremost. He had a really good game this past week, but that might be because they didn't have enough film on him. And all they did was just throw deep to DeAndre Hopkins. That was pretty much their game plan, and it works because DeAndre Hopkins is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, I think like they have traded some pieces. Kevin Byard's out. Welcome back Terrell Edmonds, who is more of a box safety than anything. Not really that great in coverage. I had a lot of issues with play rec, but he's at least a decent stopgap instead of Byard. Question is really, Cam Hayward might be coming back. Can they stop the interior of the running game? Is Derrick Henry going to get rumbling? Or is Will Levis just going to be eaten alive because, I mean, he finally has tape on him. You can finally get the weaknesses down. And also, it's the first time he's on a road game, too. So I'm interested to see how that goes. I'm also interested to see Kenny Pickett coming back from that rib injury.
Mm-hmm.
Because, once again, he's a quarterback that looks bad 85% of the time. Like, he looks like, what are you doing in the NFL? And then in the fourth quarter and, like, final drives, he turns into John Elway, and it is the strangest thing in the world. Like, is it Canada? Is it just like being held back? Because I feel like most of that's no huddle, and that's coming out of him. And he's the one doing the audibles and the changes. So I think part of that is also like give him some freedom. Maybe something works. But the set game plan is going to be work. I'm just hoping that we can gain 10 yards in a drive for at least
so
the first
excited
5
to
drives.
watch the Packers offense again tonight.
Maybe.
Oh, dude,
Kenny
wait
Pickett
till
is-
next week, man. Packers Steelers. That's going to be an offensive hell. Oh, dude. We should
Okay,
stream
so-
it together and torture ourselves.
I really don't even know because like the Packers
gonna
just don't
be
show up
so
in the
bad.
first half. It's gonna be so bad.
Dude, it's gonna be 0-0.
so bad.
It's gonna be like that Jets-Giants game. Oh, dude, so bad. So bad.
So if we're doing a
I need
score
the drinks.
prediction tonight, Tree, who do you have winning this game?
It's either going to be Titans 30-7, or it is going to be an extremely ugly 12-9 Steelers win. There will be no other exceptions.
There's no one.
God.
There's no in between.
Yes.
That's fair. That is fair.
Are we going to go around and
for
give all our
Tom,
scores? Yeah.
Any thoughts on this game? What do you guys
Here's the thing, like
anticipating, if anything?
I saw this on the schedule and I was like, damn it. But because Will Levis like actually was interesting and made the Titans offense like pretty interesting on Sunday, I'm holding out a little bit of hope, but the Steelers defense is better than the Falcons defense. So I'm like, it's not that much hope. I'm just hoping it's not the worst game I've seen this year because I mean, there's some stiff competition, but these primetime games have just been trash and it's all right. The stream will be great. I have the Titans winning, though. I had the Titans winning just because of Will Levis, but I have no faith in that prediction whatsoever. I'm pretty sure I've picked every single Steelers game wrong this season. I think it's
that sounds
every
about
single
right.
one. So
I mean, I don't get it either. So, I mean,
I
trust
pick
me.
them to lose,
Your
they
guess
win.
is as good as mine.
I
That's
don't
the
know,
bullshit of the Steeler football. That's how I've just learned to just embrace it.
That's
There's
it.
no other way to go about it.
I believe that it's going to be a good game tonight. So I just jinxed it. It's going to be an awful game. But I think there's actually going to be more
Nice.
scoring than you think. I think that maybe the refs like just call a bunch of phantom PIs and a bunch
That
of
sounds
defensive
about right for the
holds
Steelers.
and a bunch of illegal contact. Like maybe Goodell's like, hey, can we spice this up a little bit, extend some drives, and
You
get
need
this to
Tomlin to
be
get
a
that over
higher
500
scoring
record.
game. Like I think it's very possible that you see a lot of BS, a lot of roughing the passer. Like it's going to be manipulated somehow. I think that the Titans should win, but I'm just going to predict that the Steelers win it on some last second buffoonery, some like some Ohio State Miami pass interference in the end zone.
Bullshit
like,
of the
game's
football,
over. Yeah. Mike Vrabel's walking off, and then a flag comes out late, and like some Buffalo Wild Wings level sprinklers out of the ground manipulation. So Steelers win by 3 points on some major BS, and it's going to be
very real.
It's going to be a high scoring game. I think it's going to be like 30-24, something
really. Like you expect the Steelers to get 30 points in a football game?
Yeah, because
did you really see that?
That's what the script writers do. Whenever
Matt Canada's offense hasn't gotten 400 yards in a game, dude. You're telling me that the defense is going to get 2 more touchdowns?
But here's the thing: whenever you expect it to not be that way, then the script writers are like, "Hey, we gotta mix it up. We're getting too predictable here." Like everyone thinks that, this is like an example of like the opposite of a bottle. This is like a clip show, where they take some episodes from the past and put it all together and everyone likes it. That's what it is. So they're busting out their old stuff.
I'm going to go with, this is who I think is going to win this game. Whoever targets their wide receiver one more will win this game. Steelers did not get Pickens involved a lot in the last
game. He had one big touchdown, and that's really about it. And that was more on Pickens having a great effort.
So whoever gets thrown the ball more, DeAndre Hopkins or George Pickens, that team will win the game. And I think that team is going to be the Titans because they are still leaning heavily on their new quarterback coming in, Will Levis, and they're going to lob it up to DeAndre Hopkins and hope for greatness. I don't know what the Steelers are doing. They should incorporate the same tactics, but for whatever reason, they are choosing not to throw the ball to a dynamic receiver in Pickens. So I got the Titans winning this game. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about before we head to the countdown? Anything else on your mind?
Let's talk about the Denver Broncos in spirit of Brendan Perna.
Yes.
Because they have finally broken the curse, and I think that's why he's here. I know he's talking about having to watch his kid. I think that's a cover for having to recover from a horrific hangover and celebrating the Broncos beating the Kansas City Chiefs.
Listen, his kid must be important or something for him not to show up to this show. Like, I mean, geez. Like,
kids.
But this is what I'm saying, though. This is what I'm saying. The Cowboys lose to the Cardinals, and we get dumped on. The Chiefs lose to the Broncos, and the energy is just not there. It's not the same energy.
Yes, it is. Have you seen the energy?
Dude, are you kidding me? The amount of clowning that's gone on for the Chiefs this week.
Oh, my God.
Oh, dude, we're destroying them, dude.
But you're also
the excuses. Oh, we had the flu.
Oh, dude, they played like crap. They had 5 turnovers. They kept fumbling the ball. Mahomes looked bad. Nobody's getting excuses for the Chiefs. They sucked.
They made Russ look like vintage Russ. Like he was doing teardrop passes. Like he was even throwing. He even had a deep ball.
He didn't even have his best game.
What? I know, but he still looked like Seattle Russ.
Judy actually looked like a receiver.
But here's the thing, Scooter. Though there is a difference between losing to a divisional opponent and losing to the Cardinals. Like there is a difference, right? Like if you guys lost to the Commanders, I wouldn't give you as much crap if you lost to the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's
because again, you play them twice a year. The Commanders always play the Eagles really well.
Our linemen were out. 3 starting linemen.
You're making excuses again, dude. Oh, you're talking about the Chiefs not making excuses. Oh, you're talking about the flu. You're making an excuse right there, dude.
That's why
that doesn't excuse how bad your red zone offense was that day, brother.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It can literally excuse
that
everything.
Played like crap. I'm sorry.
Okay. Here's my question to you guys.
That game was so long ago. Like the teams are completely different week to week.
Exactly.
In this league.
The 49ers have lost 3 straight. Okay, so here's my question to you guys.
But you guys got blown out by them.
Yeah, you guys got by them.
When
they're healthy, they are really good.
Listen,
they are not.
It's
they're
a
not
week-to-week league. They were healthier than everyone. Now they've sort of sustained the injuries that a lot of other teams are starting to sustain. So here's my question. Who is the best team in the NFL right now? Best team in the NFL right now.
Ooh, that's a tough
You know
one.
what? I'm going to go with the hottest of hot takes right now. They're not even like number one on my power rankings, but I think the team that's the hottest right now is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh,
I think the
wow.
Bengals,
They
like
looked
their
strong last week.
defense has been looking really, really good. They're off. Joe Burrow is back. I watched that whole 49ers game. He tore that defense up. They took advantage of Brock Purdy. They made him not look so great. So I would say in terms of momentum, the Bengals are up there. Like they're definitely up there. I mean, the Eagles right now, they have the best record. And I think like on paper, they have the most talent like on both sides of the ball. But like the Bengals, they have a lot of, they're back. They're back right now.
The Eagles will have a chance to prove if they are the number one team in the league. They have a gauntlet of games coming up.
Yeah.
They got the Cowboys. They got the Bills. They got the 49ers. They got the Cowboys again. The Eagles will have a chance to prove if they are, in fact, the number one team. 5 or Tree, who's the best team in the NFL right now?
Oh, I don't want. I mean, like, yeah, obviously the Eagles with the best record, but you guys got to watch out for the Ravens. They are playing some good
Offensive
football.
inconsistency. I can't
Yeah.
trust them with that.
Amazing
I'm
against
just-
Lions, not so great against Cardinals.
And
Yeah,
bad against the Steelers and Colts.
I'm just saying, like, they're 6-2. Lamar's not even playing his best football. Like they're a team to watch. I'm not saying that they're the best. I'm just saying that they're a team to watch. The Chiefs still are the best team. Like, come on,
The Chiefs, who just lost to the Broncos,
yes, they
who
are.
looked terrible.
Mahomes was sick. They were off. They're a little banged
Listen,
up. The Chiefs are
unless
still
they
the
had
best
3
team in the
offensive
league.
linemen
But they're-
out, I don't want to hear it.
They're the defending champs. Okay, like they get it together by the
When it
time
matters.
it's time to
They're
time.
gonna be there. Like they're gonna win their division. Like that's the thing. Chiefs fans, like, there's nothing to panic about. You could lose like the next 3 games, and you're still gonna win your division because nobody else is going to. You're gonna be there in January competing for the number 1 seed. And then again, they have all that experience. Like they'll be fine. They'll still be contending late. Yeah, there's no reason to panic.
And not that they're the best team, but I really like the way that they're playing. I mean, they're hot. The Jaguars have won 5 in a row.
Longest winning streak in the NFL.
Yeah, they just came, they beat the Steelers, and then, they're good. I'm not saying they're the best team, but they're a team to watch. Okay.
Their
but
offensive inconsistencies drive me insane. Like they're turning the ball over, but still winning the game because their defense is playing out of its mind right now, and they have so much talent on that offense. Like Etienne's having a good season, and but Calvin Ridley disappears.
Very
like again, they turn the ball over, they fumble. It's just
Yeah, and then Lawrence will
waiting.
he'll make, junior year mistakes, and you're like, what? And then, but then he gets it back and he's fine. So,
Tree, who's the best team in the NFL?
If I'm going with upside, I got to go with the Eagles because they still have the ability to unleash the full power. I think they haven't come close to realizing it yet because they haven't put on a full 60-minute campaign. I think they have flashes there. They're still trying to get pieces together. A.J. Brown is a beast. You can't guard him.
dude.
I mean, they still have so many weapons on offense. I mean, they haven't even unleashed a few of those weapons on offense. They're throwing out ancient Julio Jones out there, and he's still looking pretty solid. So that defense, Jalen Carter's a freak. They still look really solid. They do have issues in their secondary, but once people come back, I think they should be okay. I think if they can corral that, get momentum in December, I think they'll be a team that's really, really strong going into January.
Listen, we're going to find out who the best team in the NFL is this Sunday,
No, we're not.
4:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
No,
That's
The winner of the Cowboys-Eagles game, in my opinion, will be the best team in the NFL.
All right, so we're
I'm
going
sorry.
to be the Eagles.
That's all.
I like
I
how
don't
you
think
said
it's
you're
that up.
saying you beat
You're
the
just
Eagles. You're the best team in the league.
the
Scooter.
best.
We're the best
Well, what
team.
if they do?
We're the best
What
team in
if-
the NFL.
Look,
You can't even say it with a straight face, my dude. You can't. You
No.
we're the best team. We're-
Tom, I'm actually going to take up for Scooter on this one. If they do
Thank you.
what they did to the Rams, to the Eagles, the Cowboys will probably look like the best team in the NFL. Like whatever
We'll
they
have
did
the
that
record.
Sunday, I'm just saying, like, I'm sorry, like I would have to agree with Scooter, which sounds insane, But
we're not
I don't
talking
think
about
that's
them
going to
blowing them
happen.
out. Scooter just said if they beat the Eagles, they're the best team in football. There's no way.
Well, no,
There's
it's got to
no
be
way.
convincing for me. Like, it's
Who's
got to be a
better?
blowout.
Who's better?
Who's better? The Niners are still
Any
better.
of the teams we just mentioned.
The
The
Niners
team
are
with
still
3
better.
losses?
Yeah. Mhm.
The teams
Yeah.
with worse records?
A healthy Niners team in January, 10 out of 10
A
times
healthy
is going to beat the
Cowboys
Cowboys.
team. A
Mhm.
healthy Cowboys team with Trayvon
What happened
Diggs.
last year? What happened last year?
Last year, we
There
played
was,
a terrible game.
Uh-huh.
We beat ourselves. The
What happened the year
49ers did
before
not beat
that?
us.
What happened the year before that?
Don't worry about that. That's
Okay.
irrelevant.
I'm just
That's in
saying,
the
like,
past.
I mean,
We're
yeah.
talking about the future, and the future right now is bright
Okay.
for America's
All right.
team.
Okay.
Let's
I'm
go
just
to the
saying.
countdown.
All right, let's do that. Can someone hit the thing? How do you do it?
I don't know.
I'll just take care of it.
Yeah, you just do it, Dad. We don't have Brandon here.
Yeah. I like that, Scooter. Just have to wear that jersey. Fly Eagles fly, baby. 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 4. What will the Eagles and Cowboys do if no one scores? It's a 0-0 tie, that's how it's gonna end. And then Scooter's not gonna show up on Thursday, I'll tell you that. Oh, yeah. Cowboys suck.
That's where we're at.
Anything can happen.
Well, I think we all know who lost today, unfortunately.
I made
I got-
$277.66.
$10.99.
I wish I only had the $10. It's 5.
Get lit.
I made $31.98. Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone who contributed.
unfortunately, I hate all of you. I am 461.92, so I am being. I hate all of you.
Let's go.
We'll put out the Jeebus for this.
I think you should have to stream the game tonight.
Oh,
And,
no.
Yeah, I think you should have to stream the game tonight in your Antonio Brown jersey or something. I don't know.
I don't know about the Antonio Brown. There's no connection between like.
I don't know,
Antonio Brown
just
and
because, just for the weirdness. But I think you should have to watch this terribly mid game, which I said was going to be good tonight, and have all your fans watch you just melt down as they lose,
no.
and
No,
dress
no.
up as Taylor Swift.
Taylor
Dang.
Swift?
Loser dresses up as Taylor Swift.
What do you guys think? Do you think Tree streaming the game tonight is punishment enough?
Nah, I think there may be a little more there. Whatever.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be okay with it.
I really want to do something with the fact that you look like TJ Watt. Like, I want you to go out in public so bad in like a TJ Watt jersey and see like it, like have like one of your friends come and like take a picture, but like, oh my God, it's TJ Watt, and see if something. This could even be an off-season thing. Tree,
no.
I'm telling you, there's enough there. There's enough there.
I would
I
love
buff up
to
a little
see-
bit.
I would love to see, you know how you ever, when you go to a game and there's always someone in a full uniform that's just like ready to go. I would love to see Tree in a full TJ Watt uniform, pants and pads and all, at a Steelers game with the helmet. Just like, put me in, coach. Just that dude. Like that dude, and then tape all the reactions of everyone coming up to be like, "Oh, TJ Watt, it's you," and then them
You know
realizing that it's urinating Tree on top of it would be also be hilarious.
No, it'd be like, hey, you suck.
What if you're streaming tonight, Tree?
Yeah.
If the Steelers lose,
Do I have to take a shot of my own coffee?
if the Steelers lose.
Oh, jeez. Well,
He has to take a shot of his own, of mayo and coffee.
Yeah, not the.
Ooh, yeah, that could be one. Either that or the
I like
TJ
that.
Watt costume. Maybe we save Tree J Watt for a different time.
Yeah.
But yes,
I like
think
That's
the
like a
mayo-
good like
mayo.
off season when we're not super
But
busy.
now, what if the Steelers win, though? What if the Steelers win?
I mean,
Would it be 3J Watt?
okay, yes. Oh, how about that? If you lose mayo and coffee, if they win, Tree J Watt.
There we go.
Okay.
At your choosing,
go.
at your
You
preference.
better be rooting for them to lose, because
Oh,
Tree
no.
J
What?
Watt is going to be hilarious. Full
What
pads,
do you
buddy.
guys have coming out on your channels?
I have the science behind why refs blow calls. Like, there's actual science behind when that happens. So I've actually broken down each. It's actually really good, physics wise, and like I found some very good arguments for why refs blow calls.
Okay. NFC East meeting week 8 just dropped. We got the preseason or pregame interviews coming out soon. Look for that.
Bam.
Well, I got
Gentry.
did a congrats video on the Texas Rangers for winning their first World Series in
There you go.
63 years. And I'm streaming tonight. God help me. I hope they win, because if they don't, I'd rather not drink mayo and coffee. I don't think I even have mayo in my fridge.
You have to go out and get some. Well, if you're gonna drink coffee,
Oh, dude, I already have bench warmer. I got my bench warmer ready, dude. It's the only thing that's going to tolerate it.
Bench warmer brew. I think you should also have to drink the whole cup of coffee so that you have to stay up all night and just suffer and not be able to sleep.
Tom, what you got coming
I'll
up?
do that in the morning after.
I'll be streaming tonight for that game if it's good enough, which I don't know if it's going to be. I'll do a reaction afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm also doing the 5 worst teams in the NFL. It's either going to drop Friday or Saturday. So
Yeah, if I have to do the coffee thing tonight, oh Lord, it's going to be bad.
Are the Giants in the 5 worst teams, Tom?
I'm literally doing the math right now.
Oh, you're doing
They are.
math.
Like I'm literally doing the math.
You're doing quick
So,
math.
They are.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, the Giants are
We're
bad.
mathing
The
pretty hard.
Giants are really bad. They lost to the Jets and they scored 10 points against the
They're
Jets.
gonna be one of the worst. They're
Minus
one of the
9
worst. Potentially the
passing
worst.
yards.
We'll see. We'll see. But folks,
Ladies and gentlemen,
The Bears are the worst. Sorry.
we're done.
this was another
Did it.
episode of Clickbait Sports.
Yes, thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Done here.
Bye.
Love y'all.